Hey Shibu, how are you doing? This is for you. Today we're going to talk about what is the system that we are all a big part of. How does it look? Let's jump into it. I'm going to divide it into a couple of steps. The first step, the progression. These are called progression steps. Right now in your career, you might have started here and you want to reach here to become the star. So how does it look like? So I just built steps to make it easier. The first step where we have certain skills, right, which we acquire in our engineering school or in our grad school or maybe a couple of years of your working. Predominantly, we operate from what we have learned. We have learned how to read, how to write, and how to comprehend that, whether it is coding, whether it is tech skills or any other skills. So essentially, we learned how to read, write, and comprehend. This is what our schools have taught us, and we operate from this mindset. It's great. We know how to read, write, and comprehend. Now, what is the role that we get to play when we have these skills, read, write, and comprehend? So we tend to become, any guesses? We tend to become, or rather we become implementers. That's right. We become implementers. So if you look at yourself or people around you, 70 to 80% are all implementers. Or maybe the number may be even northwards in some industries, but it's generally are implementers. You can call them software implementers, project implementers, software engineers, project engineers, site engineers. There are many names and designations given to this particular thing. These are called implementers. A very basic example, if somebody mows my lawn, he's a lawn mower, he's also implementing something, right? So that's what implementation is all about. And the skills that we learn, how to read, write, comprehend, help us to become implementers. That's what schools teach us. This is where we are. Typically, majority of our time is spent right here becoming implementers. That's what our mindset is. Our parents have told us, our schools have told us, we look around and we tend to get into this bandwagon because this gives a great sense of comfort. It's very comfortable to become an implementer. That's essentially you are in your comfort zone when you become an implementer. In some occasions, even in schools, you get an occasion to lead, right? In addition to read, write, comprehend, and managing your own self, you get to lead. Now, how many of you got a chance to lead at a really, really top level at school? Probably 1:100. One amongst 100 of us get this chance, or even maybe 500 if it's a fairly large school. So get an opportunity to lead. So this gives you an exposure. Maybe in your early days of your job, you get a sense of how leaders behave. You keep observing them. And one of the core duties is to bring people together. I call them unifiers. So these are all unifiers. Well, they are the ones who manage or who lead implementers. The best part about unifiers and implementers, here time is equal to money. You're trading your time and you're making money. You're like a subscription machine for your employer. Every month they pay you money to implement and a tad little more for unifiers. Generally people take anywhere between 0 to 10 years to be implementers, and next 10 years they become unifiers. So by the time you have started mastering the art of being a unifier, the typical Indian age is between 35 to 45. So this is where you are in being a unifier. I have in fact friends across global top firms to various other industries, and whether you are in the giant tech firms or leading another organization in the manufacturing domain or any other domain, this is typically where unifiers are, right? Unifiers are essentially leaders who tie up all this, and in both these cases, you are trading time for money. These two steps are really critical. What are the skills that are required, and what is the next level? Here is when you become an influencer. This is where you become the influencer. The influencer have a vast span of influence. Here the equation starts tipping over. You're no more trading your time for money because you are creating incredible value. And influencers, if this is X, time versus dollar, this may be anywhere between X to 5X. And this is where the big magic figure of 100X starts kicking in. These are influencers. They start creating magic, the magic of influence. And the value which they add is 100X, and everybody want an influencer. Now, are you influencer? Do you have the required